I do want to share that we are live. Okay. TIFF, State of the Union. Okay. Let's post that. Right. I feel accomplished. What time is it? 10:36. Okay, we'll give about 4 more minutes before we get started. I do have a lot to say, a lot to discuss. Some things you may have noticed already if you've been to the Top and Fiction website. Don't do it now because I don't want you to to click away from here. But I've already done some major changes on um, the website, so you will already see what is essentially going on. If you were, oh, you know what? He's probably messaging me because our boss is on Do Not Disturb. Let's see. There is a coworker I have who needs to be explained things 48 times and then still doesn't understand how to do something. And because our boss is on Do Not Disturb, I think that's why he's messaging me because normally I've already complained about him and my boss told me that he will never come to me ever again. But hold on, guys. I got to see what this person wants. They're typing. They're typing. I have no patience for people. If I train you on how to do something, and this is just a me thing, but I don't have patience for someone that I have to explain to them how to do something 48 times. Like, honestly, I give you maybe 3 times, and then by the 4th time, you start getting Erica with an attitude. Um, Boy, he's typing a lot, so I can only imagine what I'm about to be asked right now. I'm waiting to see before I start because I don't wanna start and then it's an answer that actually requires me to do some extra. Okay. I've lost my patience now. Um, do you mind requesting billing? Oh, okay. Hmm. All right. Interesting. I'm not going to say anything. Okay, so in 1 minute, or like, yeah, in 1 minute, we will get started. I will, um, oh, you know what? This is technically also the monthly recap, so I almost forgot. I don't want to not do that part first. So first, I am going to read off the names of the people who are featured in the monthly recap today, and that will, um, and though the people who I mentioned uh, will all receive a medallion. So hold on 1 second while I bring that up. Also, Substack made a slight change. I don't know if you guys noticed because I noticed it because I'm in there all the time where they swapped draft and scheduled, and it's totally throwing me off because now I'm going to my scheduled first because it used to be how did it used to be? Hold on, because it used to be published, drafts, and then scheduled. And now it's published, scheduled, and draft. So now my instinct is to go to the middle one, which is usually drafts, and I'm seeing like way more than I should. And I'm like, why do I have so many drafts? And then it's like, oh wait, that's scheduled. Drafts is now all the way at the end. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know why they made that change. I don't know who complained about that, but it's gonna take some time for me to get used to that. I noticed it last night when I went to post my 100 word stories. I was like, why do I have so many things, or so few things in my drafts mode? I should have like 40 posts, and it was because I had clicked scheduled and I didn't realize. Um, anyway, that's another me problem, I guess you could say. Where I'm just used to things being a certain way, and then they change them on you, and you're, what is going on? Okay, let me pull this up. All right, so hi, everyone. Welcome to the monthly recap live number 6 for June. This is going to be a bit of an interesting one because the first portion, very short, is going to be me reading off the monthly recap featured stories. Again, these featured stories, which I believe there are 18, will receive a medallion in the email that you get today because the new change is that only monthly featured stories receive a medallion. And then we're going to transition into the Top and Fiction State of the Union, where I have many, many, many things to share. So, without further ado, here are the Top and Fiction monthly recap number 6 for the month of June. These are stories that were written between um, May 31st to June 27th. Poetry. Banished, I am. Written by Wally Morris. Hellhole, written by Tommy Green. This is a True Story, written by Malcolm Embers. Micro/flash fiction. Stitch Boy, written by Lauren Salas. Drabbles of Body and Soul, written by William F. Edwards. Vignette in F minor, written by Nathan Slake. Borrowed Humanity, written by Mary Ellen Brady. Short story: The Black Dog of Grimold Taer, written by C. Main. The Stray, written by Shane Bzadok. You'll have to tell me how to pronounce your last name, Shane. I know you're in the room, so you can let me know so I don't butcher that next time. The Bonecaster, written by The Verdant Butterfly. God Doesn't Attend the Auction, written by Bear Savo. It's Such a Beautiful Night, written by Cole Simon. Amber Eyes, written by Garen Marie. Dead Male Euphony, written by A. P. Murphy. Mycelium Eyes, written by Artemis. The House That Listens Back, written by Luna Ashley Kolku. Short Serial. Brujas Part 1, written by R. M. Greta. Serial. Weight of Judgment, Valor in the Clouds, Chapter 1, written by D. W. Dixon. Okay, so that is all 18 of the monthly recap, number 6 featured stories. Now we're going to transition to the State of the Union. Now, the reason for my State of the Union is because when I like to do my posts ahead of time, and I realized that an official full year of Top and Fiction had happened. We have done officially 52 weeks. And I was like, oh, wow. Even though, I started in July, it didn't almost feel like a full year because I'm someone who likes to go out off of a calendar year. So for me, I'm counting from January to December, but technically we've done a full year. So I figured, why not do a State of the Union? In the future, I will try to do the State of the Unions the way like we would do it in the United States in January. I'm probably going to do one around that time based on how this January 2026 goes. I have an idea on how to do it. But for now, let's celebrate. We've done 52 weeks, kind of amazing. And so I wanted to start my State of the Union by telling you the numbers because I love statistics, certain statistics, not all, but some of them are very telling. And so I wanted to start there. So I poured through, I track everything. I've got spreadsheets for everything, and you're about to find out what exactly do I track when I do these for the last 52 weeks. So just a reminder, this is all the data that I have gathered from July 2024 when we started through the entirety of June 2025, which includes the Monday email that just went out 2 days ago and what's about to go out today. So any featured stories for today, those people, all of that is included in the data that I'm going to share with you now. And let me know in the chat if you want me to include this data in the email that I send later because I initially was, but then I deleted it. I can put it back if you find that it's interesting. Some people might be like, this is a little too nerdy. I don't care. But let me know if it's something that, you think should be on the record. So it's like in written form that you can go back and look at. I'm more than happy to share it. First, I wanted to start with the biggie, which is in a year, in 52 weeks, we have featured 587 different fiction writers. Sit and think about that for a minute. 587, almost, I mean, we're nearing 1,000 here. That's kind of new. First time been on the list. Obviously, several of those have been on the list way more than that. Multiple some of you multiple times have been featured, but 587 just from Substack have been featured at least once in 52 weeks. Another even bigger number, we have had 1,227 total number of stories featured in 52 weeks. Now, that does not include the annual recap list. That I kept out. So any numbers specific to the annual recap that we did is not included here, and intentionally not including it because those are huge and separate numbers that should stand on their own. But 1,200 plus fiction stories that you could read free in the last year, okay, in the last 52 weeks. Now let's break it down because I love breaking down the numbers, right? And so I'm going to start from highest to smallest in terms of the category. So you guys know whenever I do these, I mention poetry, I mention micro flash fiction, I mention short story, short serial, and serial. Those are the five major categories that each of these stories are featured in. So how many did we get of each? Let me tell you. So the highest, the one that we get the most, that gets featured the most, and this probably gets written the most, is short stories. 472, almost 500 short stories have been featured in the last year. Now, micro slash flash fiction comes in number two with 271 different micro slash flash fiction. So just putting that short story with flash fiction, we almost have a thousand. We have like 750 of those kinds of stories that you can read. And they're all, you can go through all the weeks going back from last year through this year. And unless those people have taken their story down or put it behind a paywall, you can go read all of them right now. Um, Now, which do you think comes in third? We did short story has the most, followed by micro slash flash fiction in third, and a close third are serials. We have 251 serials that are featured. Now I'm looking for, or I'm currently working on a way to better statistically show serials because I feel like right now it is very wonky. I hear the commentary and I get the feedback from people who are featured that have serials because um, it can be a bit not annoying or niggly, but a bit interesting if, a serial gets featured and it's like chapter 48 or, arc 3, chapter 9, part 4, because some of these serials have been going on forever, it can become a bit wonky. So I am trying to come up with a way to kind of have a place where active serials can live and people can go and read them and kind of find out that this serial is not only active but it releases every Monday or it releases every second Thursday or once a month or whatever the cadence is. So that's something I'm thinking about, and I will you will see in a minute how that will get implemented, um, in from my mind onto the screen for specifically serial writers. So in so that's in third place. So the top three. Then we come down a bit. The ones that I'm trying to get more of specifically is poetry. So we have 124 different poems that have been featured. I'm constantly looking for poetry. That's one of the big finds that I'm always looking for, and that's one of the places where I usually find people um, that are brand new and featured for the first time is in poetry because I'm constantly finding new poets all the time. And then last, but certainly not least, is short serial with 92. Short serials, I know people are starting to understand the definition of what a short serial is. Just a quick reminder, it's essentially if you're writing a story that is just a couple of parts, but not like as long as a novelette or a novel, then I consider that to be a short serial. So you're writing something and it's 3 parts. You're writing something and it's, 5 parts, let's say. The length is a little tricky, but I leave that to your definition. And sometimes I can tell when someone enters something or submits something and they put it as a serial, but they have it like, part 3 and it's the final part, then I realize they meant to put short serial, so I will usually make that change for that person. Um, so those are the stats on the categories. Um, Now I wanted to go on recommendations. And with the recommendations, I have not counted last year just because I didn't start implementing the form with the spreadsheet to make it something that I can easily tabulate until this year. Right. So, and then the other thing is, I didn't um, solidify what the genres were until just a couple of months ago. So you will find there's a category that's called other, because and other is when you were able to just fill in whatever genre you wanted and it didn't really fit in what I now have, which I believe are the core 10 genres. But let me start by saying in the last 6 months, we have received 1,385 recommendations, meaning you guys have either submitted your own work or you've submitted the work of others. In 6 months, we have had 1,385 recommendations, and all of those recommendations, by the way, um, you are able to see under the database. So the database only has, um, weeks, I believe 10 through 26, because the first 9 weeks is when you guys were still doing, um leaving a comment with the template. So I've been slowly taking, and this is a manual process, taking those 9 weeks worth of um, recommendations of comments and putting them on the spreadsheet so that I can then move them over into the database. So the database doesn't have all 1,385. It has like, I think 700 or 800 of that. So it does have a good chunk. It's just the first 9 weeks aren't in there yet. They will be before the end of the year. I promise I'm going to have them because I want that to be done. I want to have a complete database that you guys can look at. Um, Okay, so I want to break that down because I think it's really cool and really important to see what kind of genres we're working with. on here. And so when you see Top and Fiction specifically do certain contests or events geared towards certain genres over others, you can understand we're doing this based off the data that we see of what kinds of stories are being written. So, number one, by a mile, is literary fiction. 338 different pieces of literary fiction from weeks, for all 26 weeks is literary fiction, um, which is the highest. The next highest is a bit behind by over 100, so it would take a lot. Like, we would have to stop accepting literary fiction and only accept this next genre for months before they would even catch up, which is horror at 221. So 221, and these are recommendations. So we've had 221 recommendations of horror. If you want to know the data of like based on the 221, how many of the actual featured stories were horror, I actually don't have that information. I could pull it up easily because I do track what we feature. And now as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, why don't I have that information? I don't know, but I'm tracking the recommendations, and I thought these numbers were much more interesting. Um, Close, I mean neck and neck. These two have been competing back and forth for the second spot week over week. One week, um, the third spot will move up to 2, and then the next week, the spot that's in 2 right now will move down to 3, and that's fantasy. So fantasy has 220. So fantasy and horror flip-flop week to week depending on if more fantasy people are recommending their stories versus more horror people recommending their work. It goes back and forth. 4th is speculative fiction with 134, again, far below. So there's really like a tier section. Speculative fiction is now it flip-flops back and forth with science fiction at 129 currently. Poetry now is a huge step down at 79. So we've only had 79 recommended poems. So you can see just how much work I'm doing if only 79 poems and people have recommended their poetry or someone else's poetry to me, but we have featured 124, that just shows you I'm doing a lot of legwork to find these poets and share their work and feature them on Top and Fiction. Then we have mystery at 53 recommendations, romance at 44 recommendations, historical fiction 27, comedy, which is new, so it's crazy that it's as something that I just recently added about a month ago. We've already had 23 recommendations on comedy, followed by climate fiction with 7, and then other covers 110 genres that are all just a mishmash of things, just because there weren't enough of them to warrant giving it its own. But again, this was when the first 9 weeks when you could enter whatever genre you wanted, and, um, and I didn't really, like, make you pick one of these. Now that I'm making you pick, it's a lot easier for me. Medallions. I wanna just give a little shout out to medallions. I know that now I don't do them every week, but I feel like by not doing them every week and only doing them monthly, I hope that they mean more to the people who receive them because they're not something that are given out every week. But, with that said, we did have or I did create, which is a crazy number to me, 1,023 medallions since last year. 447 of those came last year, with 160 for the annual recap. So, with the annual recap, I gave everyone who's been featured an opportunity to tell me what their best story of the year was. This was how I was able to capture stories written in the first half of 2024 because we didn't start till July. But if you didn't give me a brand new story that wasn't already featured, that you weren't already picked for on Top and Fiction, then you didn't get one of these cool, unique, different medallions. I only received 160 out of the like, I don't know, 400 plus that possibly could have given me a story and opted not to. And then we've already done 416 this year. So we're almost the same number as last year for those 6 months at 447. We are almost the same at 416, and that's with me stopping doing weekly medallions, which is kinda crazy. We have sent only 144 emails. That includes any all the weekly, all the monthly, and any TIFF disruption. So since last year, going into this year, we have released 144 emails and a milestone that I wanted to bring up a while ago, but then I decided to hold it till the Top in Fiction State of the Union, is we have surpassed 1,500 subscribers, which is kind of crazy. We are read across all 50 states, which is also new because up until the end of last year, we were at 48 of the 50, and there were two states where we didn't have any readers. But I just checked recently this week, and we are read now across all 50 states and 66 countries. The state where we have the most readers, in case you're curious, is California at 12%, New York at 8%, and Texas as well at 8% for the top three. We do have a couple of audience overlaps, which I thought was pretty interesting with the George Saunders Story Club at 25%, Fictionistas, The Library, Tailbones, Lunar Awards, and Story Letter Express Publishing. We have a similar audience overlap of about 20%. The huge one is we have 115 of you guys are recommending Top in Fiction. And because of these 115 people who I would if I had the voice, I would read all 115 of you because you have managed to bring of the 1,500 subscribers, 681 subscribers came from just 115 people recommending Top in Fiction. More than half of our subscribers came from recommendations. So if you ever wonder if recommendations are worth it, what's the point? What exactly do they do? Proof positive, here are the numbers. More than half of our subscribers have come from you guys recommending us through what Substack allows you to do with their Substack recommendations. So phew, that was a lot of numbers to throw at you. Like I said, if you want me to include that in the email I send later today, that will have the VOD of this and will have the featured stories and everything, let me know. I am more than happy to do that. What am I? Oh, okay. Now, okay, I did the stats. Now, there's something else I want to mention for just the Top in Fiction Substack news. And that is that I am going to change honorable mentions because I just recently made this change, but I want to change the name of honorable mentions because I don't think it's really fits what I'm intending for this section of the weekly and of basically the weekly emails. Um, I have decided, or I had decided since the last several months, that I wanted to make this section for all new fiction writers that have been featured or that are going to be featured for the first time. Because while I want to highlight new writers of fiction specifically, I don't want to put them beyond this level yet, this entry level, until I see that they've got a big library. Because sometimes what'll happen is someone will be a new fiction writer, they might write one or two stories, and then months will go by and there'll be nothing, there'll be crickets. So while I want to give that person the confidence to keep writing by featuring them on Top in Fiction, um, I feel like there should be a barrier to entry in a way. And so that barrier to entry will now be what I'm calling new voices. So starting on the next Monday's email, which is, I believe, July 7th, it will no longer say honorable mentions. It's now going to say new voices. And that's because that's really what this section is, and has been for quite some time now. These are all new writers. They've been featured for the first time, and if they want to now move out of the new voices category into the main one, then they need to do so by continuing to write their fiction, continuing to submit it in the recommendations, be active in whatever. They not really active in notes because I don't want you to feel like if you're not active on Substack notes that you're not going to get featured. That's not true. But at least keep writing. Keep writing, get featured in new voices for the first time, and then who knows, in a month or 2 or 3, if you keep being consistent and show that consistency in your work, then the next time you're featured, it won't be in new voices, it'll be in the main section, and then if, who knows, you may end up getting featured in the monthly recap and end up with a medallion. That's kind of like the progression, if you will. So I just wanted to mention that little change. Now, what should I mention? So now I want to mention the biggie. The reason for this really state of the union, something I've been working on since last year, something I acquired last year and said nothing to no one, just maybe one or two people knew about it at the time. Um, but I would say I'm 70% ready. And that to me is enough to kind of pull the trigger. And hopefully, by announcing this to you, it will kick my butt to really move forward with this. And this is the next chapter of Top and Fiction. So I want to introduce you to Press. TIFF Press, which is basically Top and Fiction Press. And you can probably guess what that means. That means that Top and Fiction is moving towards publication in many different arenas and facets. We do have a website if you want to go to it right now. It's tiffpress.com, and I will put it in the chat. And you can also go to that website if you go to our topinfiction.com, it is now the first link there on the menu bar of our Substack page is TIFF Press, so you can easily go to it there. It is by no means finished, but I have started it, and it you can see the vision on many of the pages that are there. And I want to kind of walk you through what TIFF Press is going to do and intending to do, because there will now be a big umbrella, and under this umbrella of TIFF Press, there will be different like spokes to this umbrella. So one of them is Top and Fiction, the Substack area. And that area is where we will continue to do the weekly featured stories. It's where we will continue to do the monthly recaps. It's um, most likely where we will continue to do the TIFF disruptions. That will remain the same. But a lot of things are shifting and moving over to the TIFF Press website. Namely, um, I moved over the top and fiction list. And if you go to the TIFF um, 100 list, you will see what's going to be the new way that it's going to look. I only did it for the top 5, but I will end up doing this change to all 100, where it's now going to show your each person's picture in a square, and when you click on their picture, it's going to take you to their Substack profile page. I was considering a lot of because people have multiple Substacks, I didn't wanna go through the minutia of trying to figure out which of your, 8 Substacks that you might have is the fiction one, especially if you have multiple Substacks and multiple ones are fiction. So, if you're on a TIFF 100 list, the link of your face is going to point them to your Substack profile page. So if you go there, and I'm trying to see if I can show you guys with my phone, if I move this back a bit. I can kind of see if I can show you. I hadn't planned on showing you, but I feel like it's better than talking about it. So let's flip this around here. Lower this. Okay, I'm going to try to show this as best as I can. So here's the main website, and you can see right there it says TIFF Press. And if you go to the TIFF 100 list, I will try to back this up a bit. Now each person is going to have their face, and when you click on a person's face, the criteria is essentially continuing to write, being very. The criteria is very loose right now, but essentially to be on the TIP 100 is I am looking at being active with your community with comments, but specifically it's being consistent with your fiction. So if you're consistent with your fiction, if you've been featured enough times on the top and fiction list, you have to have at least been featured once um, to make it to the TIFF 100. But if you're present in other ways of a social nature, I hate to put it that way, but if you're on Substack Notes being active, um, there are several criteria that you can see when you look at who is on the top 100 right now. A lot of them aren't very active on Substack Notes, but they are, um, you know, pretty extensively commenting on other people's short stories or just commenting on the comments that are left on their own work or participating in events that are either, TIFF sponsored or not TIFF sponsored. They might be, they might have won a contest on another fiction thing that was noted. So there are a lot of ways, and I wish there was a way for me to just say, if you tick off these 10 boxes, you are guaranteed to be on the TIFF 100. It's difficult for me to put it that way, especially because when you consider we have featured 587 different authors, it's hard to put 587 people in a list of 100, right? So I did the best that I can, and the reason for this list to even exist is because the rising whatever and the discovery of fiction was just not fiction at all, and it was annoying people. So I said, you know what? I want to make my own list, and let's see how it goes. There will be an update of this in August, and then I'm going to kind of change the criteria of how often I update this list because it is very extensive. It does take a lot. It's not a very easy list to do, especially now if I'm going to be doing these faces this way. So that means it's going to be an even bigger lift for me. And, I do this all without any assistance from anyone. And so it's very difficult. But this has been moved here. Something else that's been moved here, which is another reason why I even wanted this website and wanted to move away from Substack, is the directory of books. I hated the way that it looked on Substack and that I did not have any way of making it look better. But now, and again, this is going to be updated with the rest because there's like 40 books I think I need to add here, but I wanted to add at least the first 8 so you guys can see what the page will look like. But it looks so much better. So when you click on a book, it will take you to either the Amazon link or in some cases, it's the books to read link. So you click on it and boom, it takes you right there. So easy, so beautiful, so pretty. Um, it's just so much better in so many ways. So I moved this page over here. So it's no longer on the topandfiction.com website. Something else that has moved over here is the communities page. So now all of the communities that we work with, that we promote, that we think are worth your time are all listed here nicely with appropriate links and information about it. So it's all got its own page. I've also added TIFF events. So any major contests or events that are going on are also listed here. This will look a lot better. I'm thinking of a different visual representation for this. And then something else that I put over here, but it's not on the menu because I forgot to add it, is we now have our FAQs page is now a over here on TIFF Press. So I will add this to the menu up here at some point today, but now all of the FAQs are here as well. So I'm trying to make essentially the Substack Top and Fiction very simple, very easy to do. So you've got TIFF Press to easily go to our press website, but you have the weekly issues, you have monthly recaps, you have the recommendations, which takes you to the forum, FAQs, which will take you back to the TIFF Press page, and then our About page. And the place that's really going to fill itself out essentially um is TIFF Press because like I said, there are going to be it's one big umbrella, but there are several different things. So the first one I mentioned is the Top and Fiction Substack, which let me just flip us back around because the rest is just me kind of talking to you guys. Um but hold on, I gotta move my camera back. It's too close, too close, too close. Okay. Um, but there are other things. And the other main thing I want to talk about is anthologies. So the reason why I was making a big deal about making sure that if you wanted to participate in the ICU event, you really, really wanted to do it because I just yesterday or the day before officially sent out my invitation to all those well not everyone. Not everyone. So let me emphasize that because there might be some people in here who are going to say, "Hey, I didn't get an invite from you." Unfortunately, there was a lot, and not everyone was able to be given a spot. But let me say the majority of the people who participated in the ICU um, event have officially been asked if they want to be a part of the anthology, which will be coming out, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, February 13th, 2026, which is the first Friday the 13th of the new year. Um, and so we are going to be holding events. And when we do these events, it's almost guaranteed that participants in that event will then be subsequently asked to be a part of the anthology that will come out shortly after or at some point after the event happens. So just know that moving forward, if we do an event that is TIFF hosted, because we are going to do TIFF disruptions, which might be events that other people are doing. And so if they're going to do something, they're going to do it. But it has to be hosted by us. Um, then that means that it will be an anthology. And then that anthology will be for sale as a print book, as an ebook. And ideally, if I can make this work, I want to be able to have direct sales from our website. So we're not going to go up on Amazon. We're not going to go up on any um, websites in that way. I want to try to do print on demand essentially through my house. We're going to start with ebooks and I'm going to see how I can make print books happen depending on how ebook sales go. Um, but yeah, so that is the idea. So ICU officially is going to be under our anthology umbrella. There will be a shop that will open on TIFF Press where you can easily go um, and essentially pre-order or order the ebook and then eventually the print book when I can kind of get that figured out. Something else is going to be coming out under the TIFF Press umbrella. So the first spoke is Top and Fiction Substack. The second one is Anthology. The third one is genre specific um, fiction, direct to website, essentially. And what that means is I want to take fiction stories that you guys have already written and do a cross post of your story on our website um, to kind of circulate this. You know what, CB, you're not the first person to tell me that. Garen, who I don't know if she's probably not here in the room, but she told me that a while ago, I think, through a DM that she called me a visionary. Thank you. I will take that however it is intended. Um, but I want to do fiction on here, and I'm going to start by doing previously published fiction that you guys have done in the past, but eventually it will transition to exclusive fiction that you guys write and put on here. The reason I don't want to do exclusive fiction yet is because I want to be able to pay for the exclusive fiction. I want to be able to pay you for the work that you do. So I want to start by seeing if I can get money made from this. And that will require, I'm going to do, like I said, genre specific digital magazines. I want to do a digital magazine, but then I also want to do direct to website as well. Um, and there's a lot that goes into that. I've got an idea for the first genre-specific digital magazine, which will be called Dead Paper, which will essentially, as you could tell by the title, be horror fiction. That's put into a digital magazine, which would be a PDF, which would also be for sale. Um, okay, let's see what else do we have here. Just want to make sure I cover everything. Okay, so let's now move into 2026 to 2027. You guys are probably like, how could you have things planned that far in advance? But I do. Let's start with January because there's a couple of things going to happen in January, and then February and beyond. But specifically, January 2026, we're going to start with I'm doing the TIFF annual list again. If you recall, I did the TIFF annual list last year and I think I have it right here. So this was the Top in Fiction annual recap of 2024. I only had it printed for myself because I didn't think anyone would really want this. But ideally, I want to do this and I want to make it available for 2025 for you guys to purchase. It's going to be a lot thicker. I mean, this was pretty thick. This was like magazine thick. It's going to be even thicker because it's going to involve actual fiction in it as well as the recap, the way that I've done it, etc. I want to have it for sale as both a PDF, which I think I did make it for sale as a PDF for people to purchase, but then also possibly do print on demand also of this. Um, when the annual recap um, form will go out for you to tell me your story won't be until like October, November, because I want to give you guys a chance to write good fiction throughout the year that you have to choose from. Don't worry about that. What I want you to think about is January, uh, it's on my events thing. January 15th will be when I will do something like this. And this will likely be when I also do the next State of the Union and any State of the Union moving forward. I've decided I'm going to put it together with the TIFF annual list thing. So that way I'm not doing a monthly recap in the beginning and then giving you another like 45 minutes of this because I feel like they don't really go together. But in this instance, I did them, back to back. But when I do the one January 15th, it will be the annual recap. I'm going to hopefully have this to show you what it looks like. I'll have it in hand. We'll talk about the stats, the statistics, all the things like I did this time. I'll talk about future things. But so moving forward, this State of the Union will happen now in January in conjunction with the annual recap. Immediately following that, because it just works out that this will be on a Thursday, I'm looking to do, I know you guys have probably seen me talking about this. I want to do a TIFF summit. I want to do a Top in Fiction summit, which will essentially have panels and workshops and different events like that, which you guys, I want you to be, obviously, you have to be a part of in order for these to work. And the reason why I wanted to have the website out is so that I can have a further reach of hopefully getting more people outside of Substack. This is my way to go beyond the garden walls that are Substack by doing tiffpress.com, taking that out into social areas that I might not like, but need in order to bring new eyes to us. So there will be an outside social media presence around TIFF Press, which will hopefully bring the viewers that we want to do a TIFF Summit, which will be a 3-day event from the 16th to the 18th. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend deal, which will be surrounded around not just the writing of fiction. I wanna go beyond that. I wanna go into the storytelling. I wanna have people reading their fiction. Like, that's what I want this TIFF summit to be. I don't want it to be like any kind of other con or summit where it's like, here's how you do character building. Sure, I want that panel, but I also want to really feature the writing. I really wanna hear you guys read your work during this TIFF summit. So it's gonna be different than what you've ever seen before, but I hope that it will translate from my brain onto the screen. Um, so yeah, so look for me in the next couple months to really be asking for people who want to volunteer, either um, with getting all of the tech stuff done, with um, maybe creating some banners, with participating in a panel or anything like that, any ideas for panels, like, I'm gonna be looking for some really, like, serious volunteer people to help me put this together before we do this January 16th. I'm gonna really need the help and the support. So in the next couple of months, I am gonna be looking for that. I'm probably going to utilize the Discord server that I currently created for the ICU people. I'm probably gonna create another channel for the TIFF Summit people to have that kind of space and place within Discord to kind of get this really going. Um, so those two things. In February will be, like I said, February 13th. We will be releasing the very first TIFF Press anthology. I already have, excuse me, I already have the logo, the I will be probably doing a fundraiser situation to get money for the ISBN, and stuff like that in order to do what we need to do or what we want to do. But that's the idea with all of the writers involved is going to be kind of awesome putting this book together. I'm really excited. Let me see. Let me see. What am I missing, guys? Okay, subscriptions. So I do want to implement some sort of subscription model, and I will likely not do it until 2027, and here's why. I have always promised that I wouldn't turn on paid subscriptions, um, but at some point, I know that I need to. I know that what I've built here is pretty massive, pretty big, and where I want to take this will require money. And me coming to you once or twice a year saying, "Hey guys, I really need money to do X," is just not working. So I think subscriptions is really going to be a step that we're going to have to take. So what I'm doing with the anthologies, with the digital magazine, with the direct to fiction is putting a portfolio together so that when I flip the switch to paid subscriptions, it will have a backlog and you will understand where we're going and what paid subscriptions will provide to not just you, the writer slash reader, but specifically the reader and what they will get for their monthly subscription, whether it be that we're now going to take all of our monthly digital magazines and put them behind the paywall. So you got the first like 6 issues free, but now it's behind the paywall. The same with the anthologies, right? We're not giving away the anthologies for free. You have to pay for either the ebook or the print book. And um, then when we start doing uh, direct to website fiction and it's exclusive, then yes, we're going to put that behind a paywall and it'll be a monthly subscription situation. Um, but I'm giving myself a full 18 months to get all the engines, all the cogwheels spinning and moving and working before I just say, I'm just flipping the switch and, you know, I don't have anything to put behind a paywall, but I'm flipping the switch. I know a lot of people will do that and will say, "Why don't you just do that?" But I wanna see what we can get done first. Um, okay, so there's that. Now before we end, because I think I've done a full hour at this point, I knew that I would, I wanna jump back a bit to the year that we're in because I did jump forward. So let's jump back because there are a couple of events that, I wanna bring to your attention that are gonna happen between now and the end of the year. The next one after this, the next time you'll see me live is July 18th, Friday, July 18th, 2 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss it. It's a TIFF disruption on serials. I have three special guests joining, not telling you who they are, but it's three amazing, amazing Substack fiction serial writers, very different, very awesome. I was able to get them to all come together. So you don't want to miss it. Friday, July 18th, 2 p.m. Eastern. I will probably announce who they are a couple days before the event, just so that using who they are will hopefully get more people to show up, right? But for right now, I'm keeping that still a little bit of a secret. Next, TIFF Sociable. We did one a few months ago. I want to do another. I want to make this a more regular thing. I am changing it to TIFF Voices. I will explain more about it on the day of the event just to get people to understand, but I think we're hungry for it. I can see it, I can feel it. So I want to make sure that Top and Fiction is really highlighting voices. And the idea of TIFF Voices is you guys come on with me, you read your work, basically read it to me, read it to the people in the room. I'm listening. We talk about it a little bit afterwards. That's it. It's really easy. It's not hard. But you do need to have a phone with essentially a camera. Although I don't think you need to even be on camera now. You can just be a voice on a live and do a live. So we could always test that out if you don't feel comfortable being on camera, but you need to have the app on a phone. And so, yeah, Kenna, we did that a few months ago. We did our first TIFF Sociable. It was amazing. We did two sessions in one day, one in the morning and then one in the afternoon. I want to do the same thing. The date will be Wednesday, July 30th. Wednesday, July 30th. I don't have the times yet because, like last time, we're going to do two time slots. So, if you expressed interest to do it when I initially wanted to do it in like June, but I needed to cancel it because I had health issues. I do have your name on the list, and if you're in the room or if you see this on video on demand or something, I will reach out to you via DM to see if you're still interested. But anyone who is interested in doing TIFF Voices Wednesday, July 30th, send me a DM on Substack. At message me publicly on Substack notes if you want. I will put a note out there saying anyone interested, leave me a comment in this comment. I'm going to do all the things, but this month in 28 days, Wednesday, July 30th, is going to be the next TIFF Voices. And if we get enough people who um, volunteer to want to do this, I will do it more frequently. Maybe I'll do it every month or every 2 months or even more frequently than that. Um, but I just need to know that people are willing to do it. And I think the more people see others do it, then they might hopefully feel more comfortable to do it themselves. Um, the only real criteria is that the story needs to be, I think I gave a word count cap of either 1,500 or 2,000. I'll have to check back over my notes, but it can't be something that's very long. It needs to be something that's already been published on Substack so that I can link to it in the post that will come out following the session, um, so that people can either read it or hear you reading it. You're going to give me a link to what the story is so that I can kind of vet it ahead of time. But the idea is I want to get as many people as possible. I think last time we did it, we had um, five or six different fiction writers do it. We had three one session and three the next session. So come on, guys. Like all of you, this is an amazing opportunity. I want this to be a normal, regular thing that people come on and they read their fiction and they get more people to read their work. by hearing you read it, and hearing you read it the way you hear it read yourself is really an amazing, amazing thing, and it's such a treat for me to get to sit here and hear it. So that's in July. Now we have October, Halloween. We are doing a right now tentatively House of Horrors themed event, which will be Top and Fiction sponsored. So or hosted. So what does that mean? That means yes, that if you participate and you want to participate, it will be a contest slash event. So you don't have to enter the contest if you don't want to, but you'll want to enter the event because if you do, you will be invited possibly to be a part of the anthology that will come out sometime in the next year for House of Horrors, which will happen on Friday, October 31st. I am currently actively in search of a couple of sponsors. I think I have one sponsor and then a couple of judges who are going to judge the contest portion of this event. There will be more information coming out about this within the next month, probably in August, just to give you guys a heads up that this is happening. But I want it to be a story that you write specifically for this event, so it can't be something that you've previously written. That has to be specific to the theme, which right now is House of Horrors. If that changes, I would just hold a pin in it until we make an official announcement on our website. But that event will happen on Halloween day at 11 a.m. Eastern unless something changes. Following October and November, I want to do, and this is something I wanted to do last year and forgot. I want to do a day of thanks. So this is going to be a very specific event. It's not really about writing stories, though I am going to do a story element with it, but it's a day for us to kind of uh, thank each other, thank, someone who's written something that was really profound or inspirational to us. It's a way to give thanks. Yes, it's around Thanksgiving, but I am hosting the event on Tuesday, November 25th. Um, Tuesday, November 25th, which is I believe is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So there will be an official like event. This is another TIFF hosted event. It will not be um, turned into an anthology because, like I said, it's not specific to writing fiction for it. It's just a really cool event that I'm excited for. And then last in the year of 2025 will be a Secret Santa. Um, Last year, and now I'm forgetting her name, but someone did a Secret Santa thing last year. And I asked her if she would mind if Top and Fiction assisted or took on doing that because I know it was a lot of work for her, and she said, "Yes, of course." And so, yeah, so we're gonna do a sort of Secret Santa situation, where we're gonna kinda come up with, a specific story idea, and then you're gonna give it to me, and then I'm gonna do a random swap, and so you're not gonna write the idea that you came up with, you're gonna write somebody else's. So instead of it being something where it's like you write a story to someone, no, that's too easy. I want it to be something that you're given an idea that someone else wrote, and now you have to write it, um, and write that story with other parameters involved. So that's something to look forward to for the Secret Santa. Yes, that is a TIFF hosted one. Yes, that will be turned into an anthology. So you will want to participate either in the contest or the event. Okay, I think that's it so far. If there might be some TIFF disruptions that happen between now and the end of the year, there might be other TIFF hosted events that I just have not come up with and or announced. Oh, most important thing, I completely forgot. I don't know if Keith Long is in the room, um, but I spoke with him, and I don't know if you guys know who Keith Long is. If you don't, who are you? But he's been doing something recently on Substack, which I thought was just amazing. And I asked him if he would like to move it to TIFF Press, and he said yes. So, not right now, but very soon in the next month or two, review stack that Keith Long has been doing on Substack Notes specifically will be moving over to TIFF Press. And I've already started moving some of the posts, so I'm going to show you guys right now. I can't believe I forgot to mention this. Um, But if you look here, you will see that some of his um, posts are here already. We're working from back to front. So now, so at some point, I have to work out with him when, instead of doing them in Substack notes, um, they will be here first, and then they will be on Substack notes, and it will link back to here. So this is where they're going to be officially. And if you are someone who is doing anything like this, like reviews of specifically like Substack books or Substack writers or anything like that, or if you have some other um, nonfiction but fiction related thing that you're doing on a regular basis or that you'd like to do on a regular basis, but you don't want to put it on your Substack because your Substack is 100% fiction and so you don't know where you could put it, come to me, let's talk about it because maybe there's a place for it on TIFF Press. That's another thing that TIFF Press is going to be doing. We're going to have a blog section that's going to be where nonfiction stuff, similar, like just like this review stack, is going to live. If you've got something that is nonfiction but fiction related, let me know. Let's see if we can put it up here. It just has to be, again, like fiction related, but it's nonfiction, like doing reviews of something, or I don't know, you tell me what it is. And it has to be regular. I don't want to put something on here where you're not going to be able to commit to doing it once a month or once every 2 weeks or something. Like it needs to be something where you're willing to regularly write this thing, to put this thing out. Send me a DM on Substack. Let's talk about it. Um, let's see if we can make it happen and make it a regular part of this. I've got someone else working on something to go on here. I won't mention who that is or what that is because we don't have it ironed out yet, but we will at some point. But yeah, so that's what this is. Let me know if you guys have any questions before I go. I know I've been talking for like an hour and 15 at this point. So if you've got any questions for me right now about what's happening, if you've got any ideas, comments, concerns, stipulations, um, well, I still have to take a sip. Ooh, I've got to tell you, I'm so excited to do the next annual recap, you guys. Um, I'm like so excited. I think it's going to be really awesome. I've got some really cool ideas. And the best part of this recap is this right here, which is literally like all 400 or some odd. Like these are literally, it's just the pages of everyone who's been featured. So I can't wait till I do the next one where it's going to be like double the number of pages because this only covered, remember, 26 weeks. So when I do um, this new one, it's going to cover like a full 52 weeks. So it's going to be so good. And I'm gonna get to redo it because I don't like how I formatted some of the pages or anything like that. So I'm gonna have a good old time doing this annual recap, which is gonna be a lot more pages. Um, all right, so like I said, like I'm always available on DM, so just shoot me a DM. Look out for me. If you're not following me on notes, on Substack notes, please follow me on Substack notes because whenever I'm putting a shout out to say, hey, I'm looking for volunteers for the TIFF Summit, hey, here's a notification on officially starting the House of Horrors, or I'm doing TIFF Voices. Who wants to be a part of it? Let me know. Like I'm always doing that on Substack notes. So that's the place to kind of ping me and let me know, either DM me on Substack, whatever. CB, I just saw your DM come through. I'll respond to you in a bit. But yeah, that's the best way to. Those are the two best ways to reach out to me, and then trust me, I will write your name down. I will get in touch with you if it's not immediately. It'll be like really soon after, and we'll make it happen. And also, if you've got an event happening, I always say this: if you're doing some fiction event of people writing short fiction or whatever the case may be, some collaboration, whatever it is, let me know. We could do a TIFF disruption. If you don't mind coming on camera, we could even do a live event for it. Whatever it is, if you hear something and you see it out there on Substack Notes, I try to be on there as often as possible, but some things I miss. So if you think I might have missed something that's going on in the poetry world, the romance world, the mystery world, the lit fic, the spec fic, the sci-fi, all those things, shoot me a message. Let me know. Let me know who's running it. If you're running it, let's talk about it. Let's see if Top and Fiction can help you in any way move forward with what you've got going on, because that's what TIFF Press is here for. It's here to help all fiction, not just specific fiction, but all the fiction. All right, so that's it, guys. Whew, you had me for over an hour. That was kind of intense. Um, all right, in the meantime, I will see you all July 18th. Let's say July 15th, if not sooner. I'm gonna let you know who those 3 special guests are that are coming on with me on July 18th. At least by July 15th, I'll let you know. In the meantime, have an amazing rest of your week, rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you all next time. Thank you. Thank you all 40 plus of you for being here. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come out and watch this. And look for this email with this video on demand in a couple of hours because I gotta go eat lunch. I have a lot of things to do upstairs, so I'm probably not gonna get around to like formatting and formulating for a while. But before the end of today, before this evening, you will get this email with the featured stories, with the medallions, with all the things. Promise, okay? Just gotta give me some time. But see you guys later. Bye.